Greetings and salutations, fellow questioners. Um, I literally walked out of the movie theater just about almost exactly an hour ago. Just saw Sound of Freedom. Did a video yesterday with Nathan Hoffman uh, about some of the shenanigans going on. I was gonna see it this week, but I'm like, you know what? Shenanigans. I need to go see it this week so that my money counts towards the weekend because that's what makes the news. So I decided to do that. I'm going to do strictly again, non-spoiler film review for this film, so this will be very, very quick. However, later in the week, I am going to come back and do a little bit more about the surrounding material, including Disney, and we're going to have a conversation about that real hard. But that'll be later in the week, like maybe a Thursday or a Friday, because I want to get everything together so I can bring the receipts. This movie, Sound of Freedom, was completed in 2018, and then the Fox Disney merger happened, and this movie was shelved for 5 years. Angel Studios got the rights to distribute it, and that's why we have it now. This film was made for less than $15 million, and honestly, if you had told me that this was a $30 million film, I'd have believed you. They make great use of the money. This does not feel like a $15 million movie at all. It's very well done. This is a good movie. Straight up. No qualifications. No, well, but for this, no. It's a good, solid film. It should be seen. Like, if you just like good movies, go watch this movie. End of that point right there. However, I will say this. And I'll come back to the movie, from a technical standpoint here in a second. But yes, is it a good movie? Of course. It really is very well done. Every actor, including the children, do magnificent jobs in this film. But it's a very heavy film. There are light moments. They are meant to be light, and they don't step on the drama. Which is something that's very rare for filmmakers, it seems, these days. Looking at you, Taika Waititi, it doesn't step on the humor is appropriate. It's not off the scale funny, so it's just funny enough to sort of lighten the mood, lighten the situation, but then takes you right back into what's going on here. It is PG-13. If it wasn't for the subject matter and honestly a few swear words, it probably could even pass for PG. It is not graphic in any sense of the term. There's very little violence. I mean, in fact, the vast majority of the violence is just people being arrested. There is one violent scene, and even that, while the violence is justified, it's very heavily edited. In fact, you almost don't really, you only see little snippets of violence, and it's nothing gratuitous or over the top. And what's really interesting is even though the violence is not only justified, you feel very good about what's happening to this person. It's even played, even that scene, even the violence that's being acted is seen as justified, but even still, it has the weight of real violence. A lot of movies when heroes are running around killing people that are all, again, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they were all bad. You don't get the weight of violence. This even gives you the weight of violence, even if it's against someone who just absolutely deserves what's coming to them. So it is not gratuitous. You don't ever see anything happen to the kids, obviously, but you know what's happening. They make it very clear like when something's about to happen, it's very poignant. And this is a very hard movie to watch, but it should definitely be seen. Back to sort of some technical issues. Like I said, every actor in this film does an amazing job. All of them. The kids are amazing in this film. Normally, when you have child actors, it's a child actor. A lot of these kids are very, very young, and their performance is breathtaking. Jim Caviezel plays Tim Ballard very, very well. And you feel the weight of what they're doing and how much it bears down on all the actors who are engaged in what's happening. That you feel this movie very heavily. It's a very quiet movie, where a lot of movies try to get you engaged with, flashbangs and lots of, over the top, highly choreographed violence. The drama of the film is not cheapened in any way by what happens. You feel the weight because of the actors. Like I said, it's a very quiet film in that, and the actors emote so profoundly that you feel what's happening just by watching it. The only critique I would really give is there's a phone call between Tim Caviezel and Mira Sorvino plays Tim Ballard's wife in this film. I think her name's Catherine. I may be wrong on that, so don't hold me to it. But Mira Sorvino plays the wife in this film. Again, it's Mira Sorvino. She's amazing. I wish she'd had there is one scene where he's talking to her on the phone that really needed to be her big moment. And it's kind of a shame that they didn't play it hard, a little bit more. I think she really could have had a moment to shine there, and they didn't go all the way with that particular scene. I think that was a miss, but it doesn't ruin the movie in any way. It doesn't distract from the movie at all. I think it was just one thing that could have ratcheted up the movie just a little bit better in the emotional impact. So I think that's a miss, but it's not anything that ruins the film. Again, it is a great movie. It's very well acted. It feels like a much larger budget film than it was, and everyone does an amazing job in it. Like I said, I'm going to do a video later in this week that's going to get into the stuff, sort of the stuff surrounding it. But I want to end on this note. In the description, I have a link to the organization that Tim Ballard founded that is currently engaged in rescuing children today. Like, this is what it's doing. They go after pedophiles and sex trafficking, and the organization's active right now. I'm gonna have a link to them below so you can do what you want to do with that. As far as this movie is concerned, you have to go see this film. I'm just straight up saying you should go see it. If you can't afford to see it, or you know someone who maybe should go see it, but they can't afford to go, they are giving out tickets. I have a link to that below. People need to see this film. They are going out, people are buying tickets to share so people can go see this film. Please go see this film. Yes, you need to see it. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, they know that this occurs, but they don't understand it on an emotional level. That is what this movie does. At the end of the film, there is a special message from Jim Caviezel, and he goes into a lot of detail about how it's a very short message, but he explains one of the things he talks about is Uncle Tom's Cabin is essentially the straw that broke the camel's back. Slavery had been hugely controversial. People don't realize it, but it was still controversial. It was something that was being fought over. But Abraham Lincoln himself attributed Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin to being the thing that finally pushed enough people over the edge to do something about slavery. They want this film to be the thing that does that for child trafficking, and it should be. Here's why. It was a reviewer that I follow named Sav, S-A-V exclamation point. She does a lot of great material. Love her work. She said something very, very poignant. And she said that the thing that this film does better than anything else is it gets past the drama and the overwhelming size of this horrific travesty. that occurs in our world, and gets you to think about really one, but two faces. There's two children, Rosia and Miguel. They're siblings in the film. There's several other children as well, but those are the two that's really focused on. You have in your mind now the face of these two children, these two child actors who are portraying essentially what are every child in this situation, everyone. You can't forget their faces. You will never forget their faces. Where it's a concept, child trafficking. It's a terrible thing. We should all be against it. Seemingly weird how many people have trouble with that concept, but we'll deal with that in the follow-up episode. But it's so big, it's a concept. Even though you have some emotion, you don't really, it doesn't grab you the way it will now. A lot of people for whom this has not touched your lives, this is why you need to see it, is because it will give you that emotional connection to this evil. And that hopefully, if we can get enough people to see this and feel that and have these child's faces and the horror of this burned into their brains, something may finally happen. Maybe something can actually get done. But to do that, we need millions and millions of people calling their congressmen and their senators and their local sheriff's departments. And I mean, just every damn person you can find. And you tell them this needs to stop and you need to do something about it. And then this will change. If there's one thing that this channel is about, is saying that you have power to change things that you don't think you can. Because it's never just you. You get 50 million people calling people saying this needs to end. It'll end. It's going to take more steps. But this movie here is that first step. It's the first step to get people to believe that they need to do something about it. Go see this film. Take your friends to see this film. If you can't afford it, if your friends can't afford it, again, link in the description below. Take advantage of those tickets and get this out here. This needs to be seen by everyone because we can change the world. We really, really can. I'm going to end there. Go see this film.